Welcome to part 2 of my 100% Baldur's Gate 3 series, where we shock our enemies, lose our collective sanity, and unlock every achievement in the game. This was a tough one, so buckle up and enjoy. As with every playthrough, we start in character creation, where I opted for a blue Dragonborn sorcerer. Also, for the Jack of all trades treatment, I'll be multiclassing into every class, so I decided to go for a spread of ability points. And in hindsight, starting as a sorcerer was probably not the best idea, and I should have concentrated my ability points a bit more, but you live and you learn. We then named our intrepid adventurer Upon getting out of the pod, Rowboat looks around very confused, but I thought a Dragonborn sorcerer would be a little bit more resolute. Anyway, we're gonna need a lot more allies, so we save us from his cranium prison and then get Lefrog in the party.
Bonjour.
Moving quickly past the imps, we save Shadowheart, she's best girl, and head to the helm. We skid past those agents of hell and connect the tentacles, and Rowboat got burnt from his draconic brother. Rowboat gets a mild case of severe brain damage, and we find ourselves waking up on a beach. After recruiting Shadowheart and killing a dying Mindflayer, Rowboat levels up and puts into Bard. Saving the Grove is an easy task as long as we ensure all the tieflings survive except Cannon, who's destined for death. In the Grove, Zivler tasks us with ensuring safety of the tieflings, and lucky for him, that's exactly what we need for the achievement. Our Earth protection is quickly put to the test as we save Nadira from the Bugbear Assassin. Importantly, we convince Roll to stay and protect the Grove. Rowboat then allows Auntie Ethel to fuss over him for a free health potion, which is rather nice. The party then went making up the mistakes in the last playthrough by saving Saza through the underground druid passage, and hopefully not accidentally killing her again. After mocking Edwin so much that he died, we got our third level, popping it into Warlock. Using Saza as a free pass to get into the Goblin camp, the party then wets Priestess Gut and then electrifies her. Heading to the Knolls for some more XP, we come across a motif, if you will, of the playthrough. Eldritch Blast missing. It is diabolical how often this happened to me, but we'll get to that later. The party then helped Karlach take down the fake paladins of Tyr, and Gale utterly demolished Anders in one hit with a crit witch bolt, which helped make the fight super easy. And would you look at that, Eldritch Blast actually hit! Oh my god, this is amazing. Anyway, the party headed back to the Grove to save the tiefling shit from the Harpies, which is a surprisingly hard fight. It took me a couple of attempts, but in the end, with a huge strike from Karlach, we saved Murkon and continued the achievement. The easiest way to save all tieflings is to become Agent 47 and eliminate the goblin leaders one by one. The goblins were more concerned with the fact that we broke their bridge rather than the fact that we killed their leader, so we had to teach them to get that priority straight. Rowboat then went outside, and he thought he saw a hot goblin girl, so he... Oh my god, he spiked... No! Rowboat, we talked about this! You don't spike drinks! At least we got another level up, which was put into Tempest Domain Cleric for the Wrath of the Storm reaction. If you watched my last vid, wink wink you should, it is pretty alright. You know the lovely tactic of making enemies wet and therefore vulnerable to lightning damage. The next target on the hit list was Draw Ragzlin, so the squishy party members were sent to the roof and Shark cast Cray Water, and the party did a little bit of shock play with the Hobgoblin. Also, the Hobgoblin kinda looks like one of my dogs. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. After a bit of looting, we then return to the Grove and find the tieflings are going to start on the long and arduous journey to Baldur's Gate. But not before a cheeky little party where we run off with Karlach for an achievement later down the line. Also, a quick tip, once the tieflings have left, their stalls are fair game, so you can get free stuff, which is always amazing. Using Rowboat's tactical genius and Karlach's Bluetooth hammer, the party surprise attacked the Dwegar on the beach, but unfortunately, Eldritch Blast loves me about as much as my parents, and the party missed out on a lot of damage on the surprise round. Like, come on, how? Will had 70% with advantage, it makes no sense, it's actually so annoying. Thankfully, we have two party members without Eldritch Blast, so the fight was over fairly quickly. It's at this point where we finally feel ready to progress through the mountain pass, and on the way, the party meets Lae'zel's kin. Thankfully, after talking to them, we gain another level, which is put into Wizard. The mountain pass is home to the glorious monastery dedicated to the deity Lathander, so obviously we have to liberate it and purge the Gith for desecrating the Morning Lord. Going in guns blazing would be stupid, so we gain their trust by showing them the Astral Prism that they've been looking for, and the Gith looked very happy to see it. Heading back to camp for a pre-victory celebration, the party drank all the alcohol, giving us the first achievement of the run. Then it was into the Astral Prism to have a chat with our dream visitor, after which we came out and immediately attacked the heretics. As per usual, a lot of shot play was involved, but god damn, don't get in Lae'zel's way when she's pissed off, holy! As per usual though, Gale with his magic missiles was the go and ended the fight. Moving quickly on, the party then eliminated the undead, and with the final hurdle defeated, the road to the Shadowcurse land was finally free. Rowboat then showcased his musical prowess, summoning a Drider who was then betrayed at the first possible moment, and his cute little lamp was stolen, which contained a pixie who gave the party protection from the Shadowcurse. From there, we head to the Last Light Inn and get Karlach her final upgrade, where we have a sweet moment and... I'm sorry, but it just looks so stupid as a Dragonborn. Oh my god. Oh, I'm so sorry. Anyway, with the Tieflings locked up in Moonrise Towers, we need to head there. And we finally make up for the mistakes in the last playthrough and show mercy to Sazza, granting the next achievement of the run. Rowboat then absolutely ragdolled this fool, which I was laughing at for a solid few minutes. On the way to the mausoleum, the group saved Arabella, checking off another tiefling that needs to be saved from the list. The first problem in the Temple of Shar is the stealth trial, which isn't a problem at all, and side note, I always skip the trials because they're just so boring and really repetitive. All that's needed is to kill the Justiciars in the library and get the Spear of Shar so Shadowheart can be happy. Gale then uses a knock spell on the door, opening it without the need for the other trials. With that boost of XP, the party gains another level, which Rowboat pops into Paladin. Oh, it was way too early to head into the Shadowfell, so first things first is to head over along to Malstorm to pick up the lyre from his body, which he so kindly relinquished to Shar. Using the newly acquired lyre, the party awakens Art, and we subsequently have to defend Halton's portal from the hordes of shadows. We prepared a ton of AoE spells like Spirit Gardens, but even with that we still felt incredibly underleveled because of my haste to complete this playthrough as quickly as possible. As per usual, we made the enemy sweat and used lightning and cold attacks and just kept trying and loading saves, and eventually, with an unbelievable turn dead from Shadowheart, Nathaniel was saved and we could go about reuniting Oliver and Nathaniel. In comparison to the board fight, this is an absolute cakewalk and Oliver peacefully joins Nathaniel, so at least when we leave for Bullet's Gate, we'll have a nice view behind us. After all that hard work, it was time to go to the pub and have a cheeky pint with Iswold, who fucking exploded upon witnessing Rowboat's ability to down a few pints. Rowboat got a bit bored, so we went about trimming down the guards to help in the later Moonrise fight, where we also got a few Mind Flare parasites, which were a nice bonus. Rowboat was feeling a bit silly, so he made these gnolls eat their owner, and oh my god, so cute and cuddly, Rowboat then became a masturbator using Minor Illusion and smiting these cultists to the hells. From there, it was just a rinse and repeat process for the guards in the room. Mig was a bit of a vegetable and did not care one bit when we attacked her, so she was super easy to deal with. The next objective on the agenda was to save the tieflings imprisoned in Moonrise, so we became black market tool sellers, allowing the prisoners to escape. Fortunately, they escaped from an easily defendable choke point, so it isn't too difficult keeping all the tieflings alive. We really don't care about the gnomes at all, especially not Wulp and Bongle. And so, with a final thunderwave, the warden was sent to a slimy grave, and we progressed the achievement a little bit more. Unfortunately, I forgot to record saving Roland from the shadows, but just know I did have to save him for the achievement. But enough dilly-dallying, it was finally time to enter the Shadowfell. At the bottom was Balthazar, and another quick tip. Oh my god, I've given you like 2 this episode, am I not amazing? But at the bottom, you can just silence Balthazar and it'll skip the necromancy war that he starts, and as long as he's silenced, it's a very simple fight. Thankfully, it's made even simpler by Balthazar's terrible placement, and he is pushed off the edge. With Alien rising from the ashes, it was time to fight the Moonrise battle. Normally, this battle would take an absolute age, but because of the pruning we did, there was a lot less enemies. Upon finishing the battle, the Horde was rewarded with level 7, which we popped into Ranger for the level 3 spell slots. The actual trouble came during the rooftop fight, because as soon as we went to the rooftop, we became aggroed. As per usual, we focused on Ketheric to get him under the threshold to dip out. But Ketheric is actually quite powerful and annihilated almost all the party members, Thankfully, with Ketheric being tickled by the moon, he fled and left us to deal with the Necromites, who then dealt with us. Yeah, it's fine, we have the F5 and the F8 button, so nothing happened. Dame Aelin again tickled Ketheric with the moon, and this time we actually won the fight. After a long rest, Rowboat's merry band of adventurers jumped into the thick of it, and continuing on for the Chiefling's achievement, he saved Zevlor, and together took down the Mind Flayers. You know, as I'm writing this script, I don't think being underleveled was the problem. I think having shit builds was, but you know, that's life. Okay, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm not gonna show much of the fight except the last hits because it was absolutely terrible and I had to turn it to easiest difficulty setting in the game because I was so bad. Anyway, moving on, Dame Aelin and Isabel had a very, very adorable reunion. But there was no time to rest. That's because we were ambushed by Orpheus's honor guard, who we jumped over and then entered the Astral Prism. Within the Astral Prism, there were yet more honor guard attacking our Dream Guardian who we had yet to save. Thankfully, with an unlimited amount of saves and loads, the fight isn't very tough, and after consuming the Mega Tadpole, we rest and get another level up. This time put into Druid for no other real reason than we need to. As with the first video, I'll be skipping over a large portion of Act 3 unless it's important for an achievement or it's just interesting. In Rivington, the party find a well, which leads them to some dead refugees. And upon further investigation and following the trail, they find an entrance to a cave, with which we find the start of the Ballas murder plot. We absolutely annihilate the shapeshifters, and by pure instinct alone, we end up in the Temple of Ilmater. Now, of course, we have to find evidence to counter this shitey little elephant, so of course, we go to Frego's Flophouse, where we find the dead body of a dwarf dominatrix. And more importantly, somebody had taken inspiration from Sulla's prescriptions. After showing the list to the shitey little elephant, we get a pass to the lower city. Upon getting to the Elsong's Tavern, we're then tasked with mass murdering these rats, and we head into the main hall. There, we exterminate the Gith who had invaded and moved through the Emperor's lair to the sewers. And in the sewers, that's where Lae'zel came, screaming to us, but you all know, it's really Orin. Orin tasks Rowboat with killing Gortash and taking his Netherstone, otherwise she will kill Lae'zel. However, I'm not too fussed about Lae'zel, but I save her anyway. At the next long rest, Karlach decides to have a date. This can only be done because we've upgraded her engine via Damon earlier in the playthrough, so just keep that in mind. It's here we unlock another achievement. I do also go into the guild hall to check that Mole's still alive.
Wow, look who it is! Glad to see you in the city.
Moving on, we decide to progress the Bal murder plot to fight Orin as soon as possible. Rowboat casts Hold Monster onto Dolor and then humanely execute him with a thwack from Karlach, a whole load of magic missiles from Gale, and a final bonk from Karlach again. With Dolor and the other shapeshifters down, we get level 9, which we pop into Rogue for some cheeky sneak attacks. I forgot to record when we next leveled up, but we put it into Fighter, giving me healing for bonus action, which to be fair is pretty useless, considering we have health potions. During a break from the action, Rowboat decides it's a good time to do a little bit of alchemy, getting the Homebrew achievement, which we missed last run. After getting level 10, I decided it was a good time to go kill Orin and get her achievement, so the party went to the Undercity ruins and cast invisibility on Astarion to skip the murder trial bit, and then TP'd straight to the Temple of Baal. Shadowheart precast Calm Emotions to ensure he wouldn't become fearful and run away once we got into the action. Because we need to kill Orin whilst our cultists are performing the ritual chant, the tactic was to magic missile her unstoppable down with my lesser hitting party members, and then once it was gone, Shadowheart cast Create Water on Orin, making her vulnerable to lightning. I'll allow you to watch Gale cast Archie of War, which we'd borrowed from Larogan because it is quite honestly orgasmic. Gale was clearly on X Games mode because they then hit Orin with an offhand melee attack dealing 20 lightning damage. Shadowheart hit Orin on her ass, and Astarion having the Nair miss her crossbow, he cast Magic Missile again, really whittling away Orin's health, and all that was left was for Gale to finish her off with the final Magic Missile of the fight, and my 5th achievement of the run was completed. Upon dealing with the rest of her cultists and getting Orin's Netherstone, we got level 11, which we put into Barbarian. Meaning there was only one level left to get, but a whole load of XP was required. Cue the XP montage. finally, after killing Cazador's goons, level 12 was unlocked and the final piece of the puzzle was fitted, netting me the Jack of all trades achievement. Because I was no longer bound by a terrible class or build, I decided to put all 12 levels into Paladin, which probably isn't the best, but I just couldn't be bothered at that point. During the XP montage, we had destroyed the Steel Watch, so killing Gortash, with the tactics from the last vid, wink wink, go watch if you haven't already, was a lot easier than it could have been. Rowboat was so done with the playthrough, so he was going sicko mode with Divine Smites. Naturally, with Gortash dead, the only thing left was to head to the Morphic Pool and fight the Netherbrain. Rowboat rowboated, and the party faced the Netherbrain. The dice rolls failed, and what an embarrassment, the Emperor is forced to save us. Karlach begged to become a Mind Flayer, but Rowboat could not allow that to happen to his Pookie, so instead we gave the Netherstones to the Emperor and he consumed Orpheus. Obviously, Voss was not a happy chappy, so we had to use Rowboat's unmatched charisma to convince him that Orpheus attacked us, and it definitely did not take 15 minutes of save scumming to pass the roll. We then sped round through the courtyard fight because it's boring as fuck, and we braced ourselves for the Netherbrain, the final battle of the game. As with part 1, the party focused on pulling as many allies in as possible. Using one of the allied powers abilities, Rowboat utterly annihilated a couple Mind Flayers. The main threats of the battle are the Mind Flayers, who can counterspell, and the dragon because, well, it's a fucking dragon. So of course, the party focused them down. Karlach then set up an explosion right next to the dragon, but unfortunately her sacrifice was pretty much in vain because it didn't do as much damage as we were hoping for. Yeah. Thankfully Gale was in the party and he cast Artistry of War again, which helped turn the tide of the battle. If you're wondering how Gale can cast Artistry of War twice, it's because as a wizard he can learn the spell, which actually is super helpful, so I'd recommend doing that. Therefore, Dame Aylin's Pummel Strike was enough to kill the dragon and the party could turn our attention to the Netherbrain itself. With the Emperor invulnerable, all we need to do is get the party in the Mind of the Brain and unleash a torrent of destruction upon the unbreakable will of the Netherbrain. The final attack came courtesy of Karlach, and to thank her, Rowboat betrayed the Emperor and became the most powerful being in Faerun. Oh, that's hot. That's gut-wrenching. Upon getting to the end screen, the last two achievements were unlocked, and all that's left for next episode is the most difficult boss in the game. It's not Merkel, it's not the Netherbrain, it's not even Raphael, it is Honor Mode.